Hello, guys. I'm Lisa,
And I'm Natasha.
and we were wondering.
Are you free for coffee?
Welcome, welcome.
Hey, guys.
Okay, guys. Today we're doing a hot topic, and in Christian circles, there's been a word bandied about lately of deconstructing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to give you my definition of it. I get, everybody kind of has their own, but basically, it is people questioning their faith. And some people are actually questioning their faith in Jesus. This is a Christian church topic.
Right.
And some people are questioning certain practices in the institution of the church, I think. So basically, it's been in the last few years that Christian American evangelicals have embraced a kind of nationalist type ideology.
Yeah.
And those of us that do not embrace that have questioned that, and
we're kind of ostracized too. Even.
Right. So we have certain feelings about it. So what I am going to say now, this is me, Lisa. Jesus has been father and friend, defender, deliverer, healer. He has been all that to me.
Mm-hmm.
I find he is altogether lovely. I find no fault in him. Where what I am deconstructing and what I find fault in is his people and the church. And it has been heartbreaking for me individually and, and others. There have been even certain pastors that have addressed it and basically said that if you're deconstructing anything, then you really didn't know the Lord. You really didn't, you weren't saved. You didn't have a faith. And I disagree with that because
wholeheartedly disagree.
God does not want robots.
Yes.
He doesn't want robots. The only reason decisions are valuable is that you have a choice.
Yes.
If you don't have a choice, what difference does it make? There's some countries and religions where you have to be that, or you're beheaded, or whatever, something bad happens. What value is that? There's no value in that because you didn't get a choice.
Yeah.
The whole point of choosing something
is the choice.
That's the value in it. So he doesn't mind, I feel, us questioning certain practices, certain ideologies. And that's where I am with it. Now you have to decide for yourself.
Yeah. I don't think it's anything new. Like as a person who loves history and just being a history nerd, and I want you to think about slavery, for example. People really felt that it was rooted in the Bible. There are several doctrines where people they cherry pick, is what I call it. You cherry pick a few scriptures, you kind of finesse them together, and then you're like, oh yeah, I stand on the word of God because this is what it said. Well, there was more to it, but you've pulled the words, the passages, the verses that support your stance. Mm-hmm. And this is no different. This is, to me, this is something that's been recycled throughout history. We may call it something different, but it's really the same because, again, for slavery, that was used for hundreds of years.
Well, that is the reason we have Southern Baptists. And yes. For FYI, for y'all that didn't know that, there were just Baptists.
Yes.
And the Baptists, the beginnings of the Baptist movement, they were abolitionists and embraced, abolition, and we shouldn't have slavery, and it's ungodly. And the Southerners, at one point, they rose up,
and
was like, no,
Yeah.
that's affecting my pocketbook.
That's right.
So,
that's right. So all of a sudden, you could cherry pick the scriptures
right.
that
So
supported
they
it.
broke off and did their no, we believe in slavery
Yeah.
thing. And that's why we have Southern Baptists and have them still today, which I kind of question, like, why do we have a whole nother thing and there's no more slavery? But that's neither here nor there
for today. But I don't think
we've done it all through history.
Yes.
That is what's heartbreaking to me. Every time the church is called on to be salt and light, I feel like we have gone the other way and embraced culture.
Yes. Every time.
And I feel like for the sake of power and money.
That's always at the root of it every time.
So
and no wonder people are questioning.
In World War II,
yes.
The Lutherans, evangelicals in Germany embraced the current nationalism.
Yeah.
Instead of, rising up and saying this is wrong.
Love thy brother, love thy neighbor.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've seen it over and over. And then once again,
here we
see it.
Yes.
Instead of rising up and saying, this is not right.
Right.
These practices are not right, to get what they want.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I think I heard it said that church should comfort the afflicted, but it should afflict the comfortable. And I love that. If you are not, if your church is not challenging you to be better, to be different, what's the point? But I feel like, especially white Americans, church for a lot of them, not everybody, but a lot of them, just validates them in their lives. And as long as I can be comfortable and keep my power and keep my way of life,
yes,
that is what church is to me. And if it did anything else, if it made me question anything or
uncomfortable in any way,
then that's not God.
Yeah.
That's not God.
Which is silly.
Well, it's sad.
Being crucified is probably the least comfortable thing you could ever have happen in your life.
And that's what he calls us to do every day.
Every day.
But that's not what we're doing.
I think that we live it's to an extent it's complex and to some extent it's not. But because we live in this showbiz world, we live in a world now where before, people closed their doors, drew their curtains shut. You didn't know what was happening. But now with social media being what it is, with so much presence, with you being able to pick up. I mean, I remember when camcorders were big. My parents had a camcorder. They had to whip that bad boy out, do all this stuff, pop in a tape. Okay, baby, do a cartwheel again. Now you just grab your phone. You swipe to the left and okay, do it again. Oh, there we go. Because we are so seen, so much of it is scrutiny for yourself of, well, no, I want to stay in this position. I want this comfort. And so I feel like we nestle into a place, and if it's comfortable for us, then be damned whoever it isn't comfortable for.
Yeah.
That's driving home, they just changed the billboard, but driving home, there was a billboard, Baptist church, and it has like the church flag, the American flag, the Texas flag, and has the back, the blue flag. And this church's stance, and it's very public where I live, is that men and women of the law, so law enforcement, if you are not abiding in them, then you are disrespecting Jesus. And this is a big one it's a harder for me to swallow. Now, I want to give a little background here. My husband works for the police department. Okay. So I'm not someone who is like so disconnected that, well, you don't know, but he works for the police department. And he rolls his eyes every time he sees this because he's like, well, so much for separation of church and state. Yeah. He was like, this, just because this is the uniform you wear, does not mean that you are always right. It does not mean that, and it doesn't mean you're always wrong either, but it's the idea that you're training people. If you don't do this, then you're not of God.
And then the idea that all Christians have a certain mindset or ideology is erroneous.
Yes.
As we all have different thoughts and feelings on different subjects. We are not the robots. We're not all the same.
And if we were, what would be the point? If you, like you said earlier, if you're blindly, hey, I have to be this. I have to do this because I have to.
That's the lie they're selling. Like,
Yes.
unless you vote a certain way or believe a certain way, you're not saved.
Yes.
You know, you're not. That's
and I got
not
a
Jesus.
newsflash for you. If anyone's listening, and maybe you're a person where you've stepped away from it all because you're like, this hoopla is crazy, blah, blah, blah. I want to tell you. We feel you, number one. But I'm going to say, I grew up and my big mama would say this and my mom would say this. And my mom's in her 70s. So, you know, it's kind of an old saying. So as a man believeth, honey, so is he. And what I mean by that is.
And that's in the Bible.
It is. First off, it is. But if you believe, then you are. And it doesn't really.
It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
You're.
Yes. And I remember in college, first off, it's kind of not fun being Christian in college. Second off, I didn't grow up with parents that I would say are Christian. My parents believe in God, but it's very lackadaisical. So I chose to read the Bible by myself. I chose to go to church by myself. I chose to be baptized by myself just because of what I wanted to do. And so here I am in college and I'm this Black bisexual hippie that's a history major and loves Jesus. Like the whole thing was just a painting of disaster. And of course, well, you're bisexual. You can't believe in God. Yeah, I do. Well, you're this. You can't. I mean, at some point, you have to do it for you, whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you just follow something blindly, I don't believe that equates belief.
No.
If anything, I would argue that if you can deconstruct, if you can break it down and then say, man, but you know what
I believe and why I believe it.
And why I believe it, yeah.
And then
it's not the ritual.
Institutions, you know, think about things that we just took at face value and later that's not right.
That's not right. Yes.
So there's nothing, I think God welcomes that.
Yes.
I think he welcomes questions. He is big enough to handle your questions.
Okay. The church ain't.
They're not, but he is.
He is. Yeah. And what's the guy you had me follow? We follow him on Instagram.
Oh, the New Evangelicals.
The New Evangelicals.
Follow them,
We'll
y'all.
Tag them.
He's awesome. But they have a lot of good questions that just get you thinking.
And he's not churchy. I want to put that out. He's not churchy. And we didn't want this episode to be churchy at all. It's just a hot topic.
Yeah.
What is deconstructing one's faith? What is this deconstruction movement? It's just a hot topic. It is what it is. Lisa and I have we've both been through it in our own ways at different times.
I think during this pandemic, it's hard to be Black or a minority.
Yes.
And a Christian at this particular time.
It kind of has always been, but now it's really
because
hard.
It's so in your face.
Yeah, it is.
And
it is.
We have seen a church who we love not love us.
Yes. Yes.
And that has been really heartbreaking.
We've loved and cherished and helped and prayed for and loved on. We have seen the vote divide that love. And that's a very scary feeling. It's very scary to know, hey, I would do anything I can for you, but you don't see me right now. You don't. Yeah. And then I think people get nestled in their little comfort, and anything you say that goes against their comfort, you're damn near the Antichrist. Like, you're the bad one. It's like, no.
Well, and to politicize church, I really, now this is me, because Black churches do it too.
Yes, they do. All churches do it at this point.
I just don't, Jesus doesn't vote. That's always my thing. He just does not vote.
No, he does not.
And I do not like churches, wherever they are, on either side, even if it's something that I believe.
Yep.
I just feel like they shouldn't get in it.
Oh, they should not.
Tell your constituents, your congregation to vote. They're conscious if you want to, and then kind of stay out of it.
Yes.
But the whole
idea
thing,
if you don't vote for this person, then
and
you're
having
not of
candidates
God.
come,
yes,
and I'm not down for that. I really am not.
Part of the problem with the church, again, this is just Natasha's little old opinion, take it or leave it, 2 cents, is that power play. Power is intoxicating. No matter what it is, power is intoxicating. That's why for some parents, as their toddlers turn into kids and their kids turn into teenagers, there becomes this struggle because all this time you've had the power. No, eat your broccoli. No, you're not going to get ice cream before you eat your Brussels sprouts. Whatever it was. And then all of a sudden you lose that power. I mean, like it's just not as strong as it once was. And there is a ton of power in the church. There always has been a ton of power in the church. I don't care what your denomination is. There is a lot of
for
power.
white men in particular.
Oh, of course,
because we've seen there's that a lot struggle of, money. Of letting women be in in
clerical roles,
leadership, or to preach, or any number of things. We've seen just struggles with that. With
even if you look at all of the
LGBTQ community, struggles with that. No, you're not in a lot of denominations. With African Americans, with minorities, with political parties. And historically, Black churches, we did embrace certain political groups because we were so what's a word?
In my head, I'm like hopeful for change.
Well, we were, but I mean, like, because it was so bad for us. We had to.
You wanted to.
We were fighting for change. So, because Dr. King was a clergyman and he had this,
which
civil rights movement, violent movement going. So it is backed in that, and that's kind of entirely different. I can't even equate what's going on now to that.
No, not at all.
But
because this is all for self. That's the kind of, my mom actually marched. My mom's in her late 70s actually, and she has a scar on her back. And when we were little, we would ask her, and we got older, we found out it was because they turned the hoses on, and it literally drug her down the streets in downtown Dallas. And so it ripped through her clothes, ripped up her back. So she has this kind of, now it's a light scar because it's been many years ago. And I think one of my issues is then there was an actual cause. Now this is just for your comfort.
The cause is power.
Yes.
And keeping control.
And keeping control over
and it's just
groups,
like, episode last season, there was an episode we talked about the show on HBO, In Treatment. And I was talking about a white man, just that flailing to keep power.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do whatever. And that's kind of, I feel like, what we're seeing. FYI, Jesus is not American. He was not born in America. He did not have the flag. It has nothing to do with the church. So
spoiler alert.
Putting that together, which, it's this whole nationalist movement, which Germany did during World War II.
We see how that turned out, guys.
Yes. And that is not a good thing.
No, it's not.
So, and I have never been, I don't want to in any way disrespect the flag, but I have just never been one of those real flaggy people.
Well, this is my
and I know people, if you are, do you, boo?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but people that just get so riled up about the flag.
But this is kind of new. It's kind of
idolatry.
It is. And it's kind of new. Now, I come from, when I say military heavy, I mean, it's almost an understatement. Like, I would roughly 60, more than 60, just on a quick calculation of my family, 60% military. If anybody has kind of the right to get upset about a flag, I'm going to say it's people I know who have been shot, literally. I have a brother that has a Purple Heart, still serves to this day. My grandfather served. I mean, I'm just, in my head, I could just name, literally most of my family. And I was talking to my grandfather, who served in a time when there was no "Yay, you're a hero." There was no yellow flag, yellow ribbon, support the troops. It was a Black man that came back that still had to struggle, and they didn't care that he took a bullet for America. And really now they don't care either. This is all about this idolatry, but that's a whole nother story. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about all this flag stuff? Like, did I miss something? Am I missing the mark? He was just like, no, it's just a new golden calf.
That's a good way to put it.
And FYI, my grandfather is a preacher, a Baptist preacher. And it was he has a very modern way of looking at it. Honestly, if you just know his background, it shocked me. I was just like, go on, and he's like, no, this is a new way where we feel good about ourselves. We can detach from our flaws and say, but I'm an American, damn it. I fly the flag. That makes me a patriot. And he just kind of went on and on. And he was like, but does
all those
it?
buzzwords.
All these buzzwords. He said, but does it really? He said, do you love your neighbor? The neighbor that you can't stand, or maybe you have preconceived notions because of where you believe they're from or how you believe they believe. Do you go help that neighbor? Because if you're not doing that, then you're not being really American here. So it's all about the buzzwords.
Folks won't even get a vaccine to help their neighbor.
Girl, they're not about that life.
Yeah.
They're not, but
not really.
It's all about the show.
Yeah.
It's about I live in the country. So, people strap full-size flags on the pickup trucks. It makes King of the Hill look super civilized, and
but to do that in the name of Jesus,
but you're
in the
not,
church,
though.
but throughout history, we have killed people
in the name of Jesus.
We have done a lot of
raped people in the name of Jesus. Done a lot of
hellish things in the name of Jesus. And I think once again, when we have the opportunity to be salt and light, we have yet again failed.
Yes.
And
embraced
culture.
And that is why so many people have stepped away from the church, because it is very hard to do that in the church. It's
hard to ask questions.
It's hard to ask questions. And sadly,
to say why.
Yes.
And to ask why.
Yes.
Why are we doing this? Why are we supporting this?
Right.
Why are we embracing this
why do we go after this group and not this group?
Yes.
I'm always, when I sit at any church and I hear the LGBTQI community get targeted, I always think, well, are you targeting the men in here cheating on their wives? Are you targeting the wives with gambling? Because this is just it. If we're talking about sin across the board, you need to get on everybody. Don't just get on the ones that make you uncomfortable. And my husband,
or the thing that you're not doing.
Yes.
See, that's
what my husband said. Cedric said, well, baby, they just like to preach about stuff they not doing.
Right.
He said, so if you don't have a problem, if you're a straight
cheating,
black man,
you're going to bring that up. If you don't have a problem with lying, you're going to
bring that
target
up.
the liars.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly.
That's an easy one.
Yes.
Because most people are not that.
Yes.
So let's pick that.
So but that's power.
Yeah.
And that's picking on the minority.
Yeah.
So this is my personal opinion is, but you and I are both readers. Read the Bible for yourself. Let it do for you.
Advice.
Yes.
When I got saved, when I was 21, my friend Stephanie, hey Steph, her mom gave me the best advice and said, baby, read the Bible for yourself. Yeah. Don't take any preacher's word for it. Mm-hmm. You just read for yourself. And that has served me well. Some of these people
will lead you right to the gates of hell.
That has served me well.
Now, Lisa, I want to point out, you were a heathen longer than me, girl. You were 21.
But you know what? There's a lot that people preach that is nowhere in the Bible. And now that's one thing. Even in my young state, I was not afraid to say, show me that.
In a heartbeat.
Show me that. Because unless you can show me that, then that's your opinion.
Yes.
Now, and that might work for you.
But that don't have to work for me.
I have 4 kids, and what I tell one, I might not tell the others.
Yes.
So there's some things that God could tell you. Now, that doesn't mean you go out and start a church of the do not do whatever.
Yes.
But there's some things that God could tell you. It's not across the board. And everybody has to do that. That's for you. That is for you.
Can we highlight that? Because I think that's the problem with people in general. Like, aside from the church, aside from the Bible, whatever is for you is for you. And a lot of times, I know Lisa and I, at one point in time, actually attended church together before we knew each other. And there was one sermon where the pastor said, and don't nudge your neighbor. Don't tap your wife on the knee. Don't elbow your husband. That was just for you. Mm-hmm. Stop trying to take it and project
it to somebody else.
Yes, you're trying. Mm-hmm. Like, no, fix yourself. Work on you. If people just worked on themselves, mm-hmm. Lord.
Honey, sweep around your own front porch before you get to sweeping on mine.
Before you get over here. And that's so much of it too. But I think now, and this is not new, that I can bring up several instances throughout history where a church or a belief system has been used to do this. Women's intuition, women caring for children. You help the sick child and the male doctor can do it. You're a witch. I mean, none of this is new. This has been happening.
But it's all throughout history. So sad. You'd think finally, maybe not. you know what I mean, that we would do better. It's been heartbreaking for me personally. It really has.
It's very heavy.
And I know for a lot of you out there, you're struggling with this and where do we go? But like Stephanie's mom, I would just encourage you to read the Bible for yourself. And like I said, Jesus, I find no fault in him.
Right.
It is his people. And I'm sure it's heartbreaking
his
to him
alleged
too.
People.
Yes. So that's the thing. There's so many others. We'll tag some.
Yeah.
I have found some really lovely Christian people who are not these nationalist crazies.
Yes.
And that has been very encouraging to me.
I had an old guy. His name was Philip. And I wonder what he's up to. I just, you think of people, but where I grew up, it was definitely the ghetto. And there was a church, funny enough, Pleasant Grove Baptist Temple was the name of it. And they had school buses. And they went through all of Pleasant Grove, even into Mesquite. And they would say, if your kid wants to go to church Sunday, we'll come pick them up. Oh. And so that was how I went to church. I rode this church school bus, went to church, redheaded guy named Philip. All of his kids at that time, they all had like just the reddest red hair, just gingers. And he told me, he said, because I would always ask him, what did they say? Or what was this? What was that? He said, if God is in you, why would you look outside of yourself? He said, a lot of times we know the answer. And where you get it wrong is you're waiting on the preacher to tell you something or a deacon to tell you something. He was like, but what do you know to be true?
Christ in you, the hope of glory.
If God is in you, we got to quit looking outwardly for answers and solutions.
Yes.
And in a way, it's lazy. I'm just going to call myself out. I'm going to call other people out. It's lazy.
And if you're having issues or like bad feelings surrounding some things, that is God talking to you.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
I want you to know it's not this deep, thunderous Zeus
don't
voice.
listen to anybody saying that that's ungodly.
Yeah.
It is not.
Yeah.
Jesus questioned. When you read the Bible, there were many things that he was like, this is a tradition.
Right.
This has nothing to do with God. This is y'all.
Yes.
So,
I'm sure he was walking through the entire time thinking, my daddy ain't say that. Like you made this up.
And he told some of them that too. So you're in good company, I guess is what we're saying.
Yes.
So we will tag some accounts that we know of, that people who are on this journey with us. And this is not a bad thing. At the end of it, it's okay to dig away the chaff to get to rock bottom.
Yeah.
To get to a solid foundation.
Yeah.
That is okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we are all doing, that there's a lot of chaff. There's a lot of noise that has nothing to do with God.
Nothing at all.
So,
and it's really sad for people who kind of just have dove into this and they took a hook, line, and sinker. And then what happens when the thing that you love now goes against what this church is telling you?
Right.
And then you're at this source of absolute conflict. And I think that's what's happened to so many people is they get to a crossroad and they're like, they don't know what to do. They know what feels right in their heart. They know what feels right in their head. But then if it doesn't match, then it's an issue. And
remember that
you got to know yourself.
The gospel will afflict the comfortable.
Yes.
It really, it should.
If
it's not, then you're not reading it. You're not hearing it right, because he will upend you sometimes.
Yes.
And let you know, you're on the wrong path, or
right.
you are doing this wrong. And if he's not doing that, he says he corrects his kids.
Yeah.
Now, this is just a little, I won't charge you for this, but people have, heard it said, sickness and accidents and bad things. And I don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that. I don't correct my children like that. I don't believe God does. But he will pull you aside, just like I have done my children. And just like, look, let's talk about this.
You'll have that little heaviness that don't let you sleep real good.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's some things he will keep you up at night about,
mm-hmm.
and let you know, tap you on the shoulder, like, hey, you need to get this together. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And thank him. I thank him for
right
correcting
path,
me.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's what you want.
Yes.
Because you want to feel at peace. You want to feel at peace. And so anything that's helping you get there, that's probably where you want to go.
Yes.
You don't want to live in strife or in chaos or even in this almost militaristic
you have to do
you
it.
have to do this. You have to be this way.
That's
Like,
not God.
That's not.
That's taking away your choice.
Let me tell you, this is my thing. If we are all made in his image, I've always thought that if we're all made in his image, then you can't tell me that God didn't make me. He didn't make my dad, blonde hair, blue eyes. He didn't make my mama, chocolate skin, brown. We're all made in his image. We're all supposed to be here. And if any belief system tells you that, oh, because someone looks this way, they're not supposed to be here. If they act this way, they're not supposed to be here. That's not God. Like, it's just not. Anytime that comes up, that should be a red flag.
Or building walls to keep people out. And Jesus was a refugee, just FYI.
Baby, he would have been out.
Right.
And now we need, I don't know what they sell now at Mardell. But you need those old Bibles. I got a Bible that's just falling apart from when I was young. And I, just a true history nerd, I would always turn to the back and look at the maps. And I remember one day, my dad is definitely a history nerd. And I was like, Dad, where's America? He was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Dad, I looked at all this and I can't find America. He was like, well, how the hell would you find America? Jesus wasn't born in America. And I was like, what do you mean? And I may even post a picture, but people have always said, oh, your dad looks like Jesus. Sits up very straight, long blonde hair, blue eyes. And he told me one day, he said, baby, Jesus looks a hell of a lot more like you or your mama than he does like me. He wasn't born here. And I just remember thinking, what? Are the pictures at our Baptist church? Are they wrong? And he was like, that's what they want him to look like. Yeah. That's what they see fit to worship. So that's what they want it to look like. But, my dad was like, honestly, we don't know. He said, but I'm going to tell you this.
Very many blondes.
He said he don't look like me. Yeah. And I just remember that really made me look at it like a historical document where I was like, okay, I want to know what this was like. Like, what was this actually like? And it's not the American flag. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
It's not.
So
just because we say one nation under God doesn't mean that's what that means.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean we're above other nations either. It doesn't.
No, it certainly does not.
No.
We just want to encourage y'all. If you're struggling a little bit or you're having questions, that you are not alone.
No.
And that it's perfectly okay. Yeah. And God can handle any questions you have.
Yes. And has an answer.
Yes. And we just want to encourage you, if you're there, read for yourself.
Yes.
Read the Bible for yourself and come to your own conclusions, and God will get you where you need to be.
I agree. Yeah. Well, that concludes that hot topic. We're going to move on to something.
Our sexiest man alive. We can't let that go.
No. So,
my sexiest man alive this week is Nick Wooster. Now, he has a big presence on social media, but he's a fashion consultant, and he's worked for Barney's and Bergdorf's and Neiman Marcus and Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, everybody. But he's known for his street style. But he is so cute to me.
I'm trying to look him up.
Just really swaggy, age appropriate.
He is.
But just super cute. So he's my guy this week. He's my crush.
Okay, no, he is cute.
Really cute.
His Instagram is at Nick Wooster, WOOSTR.
We'll tag him, girl.
He's cute. Okay.
Isn't he cute?
And he has like big man vibes, and he is not. He's only 5'6", but he is handsome. Okay,
really cute.
I'm here for this.
Yeah.
He has like a mature Anderson Cooper with more swag about him.
Yeah.
Type of look.
Like street swag.
And Anderson Cooper is hot. So yes, he is very cute.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to pick, I had 3 people, and I'm not going to pick all 3.
Please don't save them. Save them. We have other episodes.
You know what? Okay, I was going to pick one that they're actually not alive, so I guess I will scratch that, even though it was on point for the episode. But I'm going to pick someone, I don't know if I already picked him, Keanu Reeves. And what brought him to mind is, when you meet people who've met him, he just seems like a love everybody kind of guy.
He is.
He's age appropriate. There was some buzz around the fact that when he's with women, he never touches them in the hugs. You always see his hands like out into the back, but the
little side hug.
Yeah, I'm not touching on him. But he just seems like he seems like a love your neighbor kind of guy.
And so he seems so grounded.
He does. And he's
normal.
And he's handsome.
He doesn't believe his own hype.
Yes, he's normal.
Yeah, he's cute. I don't know. You might have picked him, but he's worth a second go.
He is with the new Matrix that's dropped.
Oh, yeah, he is. That's right.
Yes. That's my pick is Keanu Reeves. Because
I'm down for him too.
Who doesn't love Keanu Reeves? I mean, seriously.
Every week.
Every week could be Keanu Reeves
every week.
Yes.
Every week.
So, and for anyone wondering, I do have a Keanu Reeves Funko.
Ooh.
I do. It's so cute. It's a John Wick Funko, and Funkos are our jam.
He is so cute.
He's
super cute. He's aged really well.
He has.
Yeah. He's not changed.
You know why? Because he ain't in nobody's business worrying about what they do.
Right.
So that's why
that'll keep you young.
That'll keep you. He don't have the stress.
Stay on your front porch.
That's it. He get out there. He sweep his own porch. In my head, y'all, he sweeps his porch. He drinks a little coffee. He inhales, and he goes back in his own damn house. Okay, and that's why he looks so good. That's why he looked my age, even though he's not. So Keanu Reeves is my man for this week.
I'm down for it.
For this week. Well, guys, thank you for joining us for our hot topic. As you already know, our next episode will not be a hot topic. We'll be kind of switching it up as we tend to do. And we will tag anything that we discussed.
Yes.
We'll tag it on our Instagram.
Thanks, guys.
Until next time.